Even if Avengers Doomsday turns out to be a spectacular movie and the best movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe franchise, it has one major hurdle to overcome if it's to be a financial success. And that hurdle is its own enormous budget. This article is from CBR.com. Avengers Doomsday reportedly breaks MCU record that could hurt its success. Avengers Doomsday has reportedly broken a pretty big record for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The production and marketing budgets for the superhero crossover movie have just been revealed by insider John Campea, and it signals a long road to profitability for Marvel Studios. On his YouTube show, via X, Campea shared that he had been told that Doomsday has an eye-popping production budget of $400 million, which, by the way, was the same budget as Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Additionally, Marvel Studios reportedly plans to spend another $300 million on marketing. Given that studios roughly evenly split box office revenue with theaters, Avengers Doomsday will need to make at least $1.5 billion just to break even. How much? $700 million for production and marketing. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous money for a film. And again, that's just Avengers Doomsday. And that Doomsday is the first of a two-part saga, obviously. In 2027, Avengers Secret Wars is going to come out, which is the conclusion of that two-parter. But yeah, it's just ridiculous. These costs are enormous. The costs of these movies have just been rising more and more. In the case of something like Captain America Brave New World, the budget just ballooned because of reshoots and stuff. But yeah, it's as we know, films have to make at least twice their costs in order to break even, because studios have to split their box office earnings with cinemas and so forth. So yes, $1.5 billion to break even would be the target, just to break even, before they even turn a profit. Now, as you can see here from Box Office Mojo, 2018's Avengers Infinity War made $2 billion at the box office. And the conclusion, 2019's Avengers Endgame, made $2.8 billion. The closest that the MCU has gotten to that mark since then has been the likes of Spider-Man No Way Home from 2021, which made $1.9 billion. And more recently, 2024's Deadpool and Wolverine, which made $1.3 billion. Infinity War from 2018 and Endgame from 2019 feel like a very, very long time ago. And in terms of really where the MCU is, those were the glory days. That was phase 3. That was the end of phase 3. And as I've said before, at that point, the MCU could do no wrong. The movies back then were all profitable. But the quality has declined since phase 4 onwards. Now, before I go very much further, I just wanted to let some of my new subscribers know that I have written 2 books that you might be interested in checking out. Now, the first is a sci-fi novel called Deus V Machina, a Cody Stockton mystery. In Las Vegas, 2045, Detective Cody Stockton investigates a mysterious death that leads him to a wider narrative involving a deadly satanic cult with genocidal ambitions and a totalitarian AI system about to be unleashed upon the world. It's a fast-paced action-adventure that's packed with twists, interesting characters, with some meaningful philosophical and spiritual themes as well. So if you like sci-fi, noir, and detective fiction, you might like that book. The second book is The Checkmate Machine: How Modern Smart Tech Ruins Everything. It's a non-fiction book and a collection of essays that I wrote over the years about the intrusive nature of modern tech, with discussions about how transformative and disruptive some technologies have been in our lives and the potential negative consequences of them. I talk about digital ID, digital currencies, smart cities, transhumanism, AI, and its effects on entertainment, robotics, automation, and more. You can check out both books from the links below. They are available to read in ebook, paperback, and also you can listen to them in audiobook format as well. So getting back to Avengers Doomsday, it's reached a point now where there's just huge pressure for this movie to make back a gargantuan amount of money because the budget is so high. And you should consider the following. And I think this is very important. The Avatar movies had huge budgets as well, and they were generally well regarded by audiences and critics, but you can see huge declines in their box office performances. The first Avatar movie in 2009 made enormous money, $2.9 billion at the box office. The 2022 sequel, Avatar: The Way of Water, made $2.3 billion, still a lot. But then the third film, which came out in 2025, only made just under $1.5 billion. That's a massive decline. I mean, it's a decline of almost $800 million from the second to the third film, and it's a $1.4 billion decline from the first film to the third. And keep in mind, Avatar: Fire and Ash was generally well received in reviews, and still, it didn't perform as well as many people expected. It wasn't a flop, but it did not generate the money that people thought it would. And I have to say, I was also surprised by this. I thought it was going to make about $1.7 to $1.8 billion, something like that, but it didn't. It fell short. So that's important context here, because that's the new cinematic landscape that Avengers Doomsday finds itself in 2026. Audiences have streaming now, and they have a lot of content to watch at home. And I'm blue in the face saying this, but it takes something really significant to get people to get off their couches and pay good money to see a film in the cinema. A film that they know will probably be available to watch from their couch in just a few months after its cinematic release anyway. You know, last year's Superman proved that. And that's the big difference today. Generating over $1.5 billion or more at the box office is much more difficult than it used to be. This is why it's so important to keep budgets down. It's just so difficult to recoup them. Even if the film is good and critically acclaimed, the Avatar franchise is proof of that. And, you know, also looking at the last 3 Marvel Cinematic Universe films, of the 3 films released last year, Thunderbolts, Captain America: Brave New World, and the hugely promoted Fantastic Four: First Steps, they were all box office bombs. So that's 3 in a row. And so that's where the MCU is at the moment. So I don't think the franchise is in a good situation from the perspective of the box office. So I don't think that bodes well for Doomsday. Now, I am aware that Spider-Man: Brand New Day is up next. That's going to be released in July. And there's a chance to build some momentum there if that film is successful. And I suspect it will be, because the Spider-Man films in the MCU generally do quite well. But Doomsday has got to make Endgame or Infinity War type money. It's got to make Avatar type money in order to be considered a success. And one has to wonder, is that still possible? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Please share the video out there. Take care. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.